Routes.
Run a route. Season 2.
Hey.
Season 2. We got Nick back in the house.
Yo, big shout out to my man Cedric. We got a lot of shout outs today. Big shout out my dude Henri. We're going to get into some Henri questions later on in the show, ladies and gents. Stick around for these questions that no one can answer.
Henri's got some goodies.
Except us. Big shout out to Henri. Big shout out to everybody coming back, and big shout out to my co-host Char. There's so many names, but Charlie will do today. And we have the Nikolai
in the
Toxic
building.
Tammy. We have Nick in the house.
Baby Reap.
I'm so glad he's here. We finally got him here. Hopefully we'll have him for a whole season, but I can't make any promises, people. So
enjoy this.
We're gonna try
last season.
Enjoy.
I'm trying to
just
stay
get
healthy
your
trying
Knicks.
to stay healthy.
Get your Knicks in now. Or
Eat up.
forever hold your peace.
Heat it up. Show AFC. Break it down division by division. Go through some MVPs. Go through some rookies. Talk a little who we like. Playoff teams. What could happen? Possibilities.
Which one we doing first?
AFC East. Let's start at the top.
Let's jump on the East. The East to me, the East to me is an easy one. There's not really much to talk about for me.
At the top, yeah.
I really, honestly, I'll let Nick take it away. But honestly, you guys already know how I'm going on this one.
I think it's fair to say the room
is probably going to be
in agreement.
It's probably there might be two teams that get switched, but
there are some new pieces though with Buffalo. I mean, you're bringing in Jamison Crowder for Cole Beasley. Dabo left, and so did Showen, I believe is his name.
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it.
You know, are you insert Ken Dorsey as the OC? Are you gonna miss a beat with that? I personally don't feel like you're going to, because Ken Dorsey was in the building last year. There may be some nuances, but it should look the same. I'm not gonna sit there and say Dable is this grandmaster genius Bill Belichick type. I'm sure he's got skills, and we'll get to that when we get to the NFC, but I don't think it breaks apart the machine that Buffalo has constructed here.
I agree.
Right, well said. Yeah, well said.
Buffalo's at the top.
And you got Von Miller on the defense. So that's a nice little ad as well.
Buffalo's at the top. I guess a concerning issue with Buffalo from last year coming into this year is, hey, we spent 2 picks on some dudes to get after them. We're not doing good in the sack department. We need to do good in the sack department to help out Tre'Davious White in that secondary. I think that's the biggest thing and the biggest question. If, Rouse and them boys don't
what about a run game?
And get double-digit sacks. I mean, we're definitely going to need double-digit sacks.
Well,
I don't think that's not necessarily a problem. When you have Josh Allen is the issue. I mean, anybody back there you can run the ball with.
Exactly.
They just don't run the ball because they never needed to. I mean, let's be real. Even though me and you, we all talked about it all year long. Hey, if y'all don't run the ball, if y'all don't run the ball, if y'all don't run the ball.
Have some semblance about.
Well,
it.
you talk about
the defense last year is why they lost.
You talk about that's why they lost. That's why the Chiefs lost too in the big game. But they barely lost to the Chiefs in the conference game. They barely got out of the Super Bowl. The Bills, just because their defense, and they got Von Miller to tighten that up. But they outscored their opponents 194 points.
But to Eddie's
leading
credit,
the league in the NFL.
In that game, they didn't get to Mahomes as much.
You're right, but
the defense is what mattered.
When you're outscoring every single team by that much,
but all of that meant nothing up until the point when they needed a defensive stand and their defense didn't show up.
I agree.
That's the problem.
I agree,
That's the issue.
But they filled that little spot with Von Miller, like you said, and I mean.
I like it. I like bringing in a veteran like Von Miller to teach the youngsters, because they let Jerry Hughes go and they let I can't remember Mario Addison go.
Yeah.
So the 2 veterans that were there, they let them go. You bring in Von Miller, you pay him a nice chunk of change. He's got to be able to teach
now or never
teach
for the
up.
Bills. Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If not, at least cause for pause on one side of the ball and
Rouse
give
and
these
Bug,
guys an opportunity.
Rouse and Bug need to come up this year.
Absolutely.
They need to play.
Absolutely.
They need to play.
Because you had the number 1 pass defense last year. Even minus Tre'Davious White for the whole season, Buffalo was still top against the pass, which is
but that's
awesome.
how they lost against the pass. That's how they lost.
against
And if
Patrick
you're not-
Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the offense.
Yeah,
of the
but
Chiefs.
but that means nothing, bro. Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, bro. They got after him. That O-line couldn't handle it. They got after him.
Right.
They
played
lost
defense.
that game.
They were the opposite of.
You got to understand,
of the
it's a
Bills.
chess match. And how do we stop an elite pass rusher? I mean, an elite pass game with elite pass rushers. That's how we stop them. That's how we get to it, and that's what's going to make them win the Super Bowl.
But we're all in agreement that the Bills take the division.
100%. But if they don't come out and do that with the defense, then I don't know if they could be a Super Bowl contender, because scoring points, everybody scores points.
Well, we'll get to the contenders here as we get through the division. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement. It would take a monumental injury to probably Josh Allen for them not to win this division. I'm going to lay it out.
I'm going to lay it out. And I'm going Buffalo, number one. I'm going with the shakeup, right? Because let's just Fraggle Rocket. Let's do it, right? I'm going Dolphins. I'm going Patriots, and then I'm going Jets, and that's the way I think. But I think like this Dolphins Patriots, the Swift swap, because last year it was last year it was Buffalo, it was Patriots, and it was Dolphins, but it was Patriots Dolphins by one game.
Well,
you understand? And it was by one game.
The Dolphins started off 0-8, and then Tua came back, and he finished 8-1.
Right. Well, that whole regime's coming back. Okay.
Right, and with the upgrade of Tyreek Hill, but
so that whole regime's
Cedric
coming
Wilson,
back.
The Patriots are
Chase Edmonds.
I think that the Patriots take a step back, right? Because we already seen all we could see from that offense. You're not going to get any more than that.
But nothing much changed from the Patriots, and they were already in the playoffs last year. I think they're definitely going to finish. They're still going to finish second place. And I feel like another mediocre season for Mac Jones. They're still making it to the playoffs, and that's it.
They lost their best DB on defense.
J.C. Jackson.
The Dolphins and the Jets have a lot of work to do for me personally to put them in second place.
Yeah, but I think the Dolphins step forward, and I think the Patriots step back, because you're not going to tell me.
The Dolphins and the Jets both step forward.
Well, with what you said, how do you think the division's laying out?
I have Bills, Patriots, Dolphins.
Wow,
Jets.
you still got the Patriots up there.
Exact same. You think that this year,
and I only think
last year is going to unfold exactly.
They're the most well-rounded team, most prepared team coming out of 2021, out of the Patriots, Jets, and Dolphins. Out of those three teams, they're the most prepared and well ready to make another playoff run this season.
Okay.
Because the Dolphins have a lot of work to do. The Jets, they had a great draft, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people.
One question: who is their starting defensive back on the Patriots?
Ooh, I want to tell you. So bad.
Who is?
Can I tell you?
Go ahead.
Who's going to cover?
Malcolm Butler. Welcome back, and then it's Jalen Mills.
Who is going to cover?
That's not scary.
Who's going to cover Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle?
Who's going to cover Diggs?
Look, if you think that the Dolphins, just because, give me your reasons
I just
why
want you
the
to answer the
Dolphins
question.
are finishing second.
I just want because they were a game behind last year.
They lost the first 8 games of the season.
The Dolphins now have the better defense, in my eyes. They now have the better defense than the Patriots.
I agree.
And offensively,
the Patriots are more playoff ready coming into the season. They did it last year. And their game plan is the same. The team hasn't changed. The Jets and the Dolphins have a lot of work to do to prove me otherwise.
They got destroyed in the playoffs.
Catch me mid-season, my opinion might change.
They got destroyed
I don't
in the
think
playoffs.
that the Dolphins are far behind. You know what I'm saying? I have Tua. We'll talk about it later. I have Tua in the talk of dark horse candidates type of deal. But I don't think that they're there yet. You can't just sit here and sleep on the Patriots just because...
I'm sleeping. I slept.
What the Dolphins have done in the offseason.
I slept and I'm sleeping. I slept and I'm sleeping. They literally traded their running back that led their team in rushing last year and didn't replace him. Who did they go get? I'll wait. I'm waiting. They lost their top corner, the best cornerback that they had since Stephon Gilmore is gone now. And you're talking about the division that they're in right now has elite wide receivers. And you didn't answer.
We're talking about the Dolphins and the Jets.
They're elite receivers. You're telling me they're not elite.
And you have Zach Wilson and Tua.
You're telling me.
It comes down to the play from Zach Wilson and Tua. That is something.
But how much do you believe
another mediocre season
Jones?
By Mac? I don't believe. I'd never liked Mac Jones. But he had a mediocre season behind Bill Belichick. And if he does it again and he does what Bill Belichick tells him to do again this season, they manage to squeeze into the playoffs again. Because they're finishing second.
By one game.
By one game, maybe again this year.
Wow.
All right.
I got it like this. I got it Buffalo. I got it Miami, I got the Jets, and I got the Patriots at the bottom.
Ooh.
I got the Patriots at the bottom.
And and I'm not mad at that because I think the Jets are gonna surprise some people. And I said that in some of the when I was going through it. I wrote that down.
Like, I think that's gonna be interesting.
I think the Jets will surprise, but that's not enough for me right now. The season hasn't started yet. They haven't showed me nothing. I can't put them above the Patriots right now.
I agree, and that's very fair. But the losses by the Patriots and the lack of explosiveness that they showed last year, and then you take away foundational pieces at a point in time, things catch up to you. And as great as Bill Belichick has been at just pushing the right buttons year after year after year, you count them out. You take away Tom Brady, still puts the pieces back together, gets them to the playoffs in a year and a half. I think it's gotten to the point where the rest of the league is now getting ahead of him.
Better.
Just the league schematically, everything that's being done, he's really on the defensive.
Winovich is gone. I mean, there's so many pieces that we're not even talking about.
And I think they're one and done. I think they squeeze in behind the Bills at second place and they're out.
I think it's a one playoff division. I think Buffalo goes, and I don't think Miami does either. I'm not crazy high on it because there's so much new stuff going in there. Yes. And I think midway through the season, I almost guarantee you're going to see Teddy Bridgewater at some point in time taking snaps. I don't know if it'll be because of injury or whatever. Maybe just the fact that Tua isn't able to execute the offense how they want it to be executed. But I think Miami they could finish with the same exact record as they did last year. I think the AFC is so deep, it's going to be very hard for any of those other teams to squeeze in.
I agree totally with
that. Hey, listen, here's the thing, right? Charlie mentioned this last year, okay? And this is why everything you said about Tua, I think, is going to be non-existent, okay? Because there was no receiver last year up to week 10 or 12. Charlie's like, look, bro, you talking about Jamar Chase average reception is like 40, 50 yards, 30 yards. Everything Tyreek Hill caught from Mahomes, the greatest quarterback in the world right now, was under 15 yards. And you're telling me you don't think Tua can do that? I mean, dude, Tyreek Hill has his speed. And then, look, you bring everybody down in the box to stop that underneath, and then he's got Waddle that he's been throwing all year. No,
I have Miami and the Jets right underneath. And the way Charlie laid it down as far as the rest of the AFC, compare the rest of the AFC, Buffalo's taking that division 100%. We're all in agreement with that.
That's
and then Charlie very well may be right as saying the other three teams might not even make it, because I got AFC West. I got three teams making it from that division. We'll get there later. But so that very well might knock all those three teams out. So I don't got Miami and the Jets.
My issue with the Dolphins is how fast can Tua process this offense? Because from what I hear, it's an up-pace offense. If you're going short routes, it's going to be up-pace. Yeah. It's going to be draws. It's going to be play actions, all kinds of misdirections and stuff, which they have all the components, but it all falls on the shoulders of the guy pulling the trigger. I don't think Tua is to the level of a Jimmy Garoppolo per se, who can at least manage that kind of game. Yeah. I think this is going to be a little bit too much for him at points in time. We've seen last year he made some steps in the right direction, but he also made some bonehead picks in the red zone and bad reads. I do, because I totally am off anything Patriots, and I think the Jets ascend, but not crazily. I'm not going out of this world, but 6-7 games, I could see him winning very easily because there's a lot of talent there.
Zach Wilson. So my thing is, Tua is almost on his last leg over in Miami. Like, you needed to show us something now. The injuries with everything else.
With that. It is.
And then Zach Wilson, on the other hand, has all the potential in the world and all the talent around him to show something for himself. Yeah, he had a bad season.
Let's talk about the Jets.
But yeah, for sure, the Jets had.
Draft was awesome.
The best draft grade in the draft, behind, right in front of the Eagles, and then the I want to say it was the Patriots had the third best draft grade. Anyway,
Patriots.
It was it was the Jets, Eagles, and I want to say Patriots, but I could be wrong. But anyway, the Jets had a great draft, and they added a lot of pieces, and they had pieces added last year and it was all there for Zach Wilson. He just had, I don't know, bad season.
I like Zach. Well, Zach after what was it? It was after week 4, he accumulated a great number of picks. But after that, he only threw 4 for the rest of the season. if you compare
in the 2 Patriots games combined,
if you compare his stats to Trevor Lawrence and to Davis Mills, comparable right across the board. I think all the quarterbacks struggled besides Mac Jones. They all showed that they were rookies as the season developed. They all need work. But you're right. He's got crazy good weapons. I mean, you're telling me Elijah Moore, you draft Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State, which is an electric guy. I liken him to like a Stephon Diggs type. And then you bring in Breece Hall, which I know Eddie's super high on Breece Hall. Yes, I'm starting to warm up to him more. It's just when I saw him at Iowa State, I didn't feel like he had to burst, but he can definitely catch the ball out of the backfield. You got Michael Carter Jr. there to spell and to kind of change pace and stuff. My issue with the Jets is that secondary looks atrocious to me. And I, for one, am not sold on Sauce Gardner. And I guarantee you without a doubt that if the New York Giants would have drafted Sauce Gardner and he was going by Sauce Gardner, Eddie would be absolutely livid about him going by Sauce Gardner. All right, I'm just going to tell you that from his stats in college, I liked him like previous 2021 before that season even started because of his frame. He is a big body,
6'2".
You know, I liked him, but I liked him in the 3rd round. You draft a corner in the 1st round, this guy better be covering Tariq. He better be covering Diggs, and I don't think this guy's ready to do that stuff. You don't draft a 1st-round corner to go take away Gabe Davis on the other side. You don't draft him to go cover Cedric Wilson out of the slot. You don't do that in the 1st round. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So his hands are going to be full, but he's going to have to because if you look at that secondary, it's porous.
Well, that's what it is though. Is the desperateness of the lacking of the secondary of the New York Jets. You know, that was the guy on the board. That's who they.
I think they're building right in defensive line and linebackers. Quincy Williams is a gem. They drafted Johnson out of Florida State. I love lots of the pieces right there, and it's kind of a 49er type of build to me. They're building from the inside out. They drafted O-line as well. See what happens with
defensive line is supposed to be. Has supposed to been elite for the last couple of years, and they've been hurt bad. Though. They've been hurt. They've been like middle Lawson of the pack. But the Jets have they have all the intangibles minus the secondary. I can agree on that. But
I like Zach.
I don't say it's a bad pick getting Sauce Gardner. I don't think it's the wrong pick. I think it's the right pick as far as them needing someone in that. If they didn't have
somebody.
They needed somebody.
You definitely did. You didn't go spend money in the off season on that position, so you needed upgrades.
The Jets, ladies and gentlemen, have to get Becton figured out. Yeah. Becton has to get figured out. I don't know what the issue.
I hope they don't trade him because I think you need a guy like that.
I don't know what the issue is with Becton. Apparently, he came in overweight. You know, apparently Leonard Fournette came in overweight. You know, you got a lot of guys coming in overweight. Jordan Davis trying to get down. You know, me and you talked about Jordan Davis and what I thought about Jordan Davis, how elite he could be. But the problem is when he needs to be on the field, he's not. You know, I mean, obviously weight is an issue. We understand that. We get that. But he's an offensive lineman. So I would argue in his spot, him being a little overweight is only probably going to affect the injuries. And obviously he's had an injury history last year. That hurts with Wilson trying to develop without his blind side being protected. If you get rid of...
He was one of the most sacked quarterbacks last year too, Zach Wilson.
And trade Becton, to get some more draft capital, I think that hurts the Jets. But I think it also hurts the Jets if you keep Becton and he gets hurt and he's not healthy and you're not, it's an issue for sure. But I think that's what is a problem for me with the Jets is, that offensive line. Is that going to get together? Can Wilson get the time that he needs? Because if you're a quarterback, you're young, you're feeling pressured, you want to get the ball out, you want to get it to your playmakers, let them have an opportunity to make a play.
Speaking of O-line, the Dolphins also added Armstead.
And Connor Williams from Dallas.
Yeah. Big. So they tightened that up for Tua too.
That was an issue for Miami.
That gives him a lot of play room with his new, Tyreek Hill and gives
the
him
offense on paper. It looks great. You got Gesicki at tight end too. I mean, legit.
But Cleveland's been paper giants for 5-6 years now.
For sure.
I think the East has been wrapped up. What do you think?
Yeah. I think we killed it on that. We're all in agreement, Bills, and then we're all a little
looking at the North.
We're just moving the pieces around, but honestly, It's gonna be it's gonna be tough for another team to make it out of the playoffs. There, it's gonna take a special year. I would say probably Miami on my book has the best chance to sneak in and grab a wild card.
And you guys
because
know,
of that defense.
There's two things I love.
Nice.
You know, there's two things. Everybody knows there's two things I love: coaching staff, trenches. These are two things that are incredible, right? And the problem is the Patriots have both of these. Yeah. The Christian Barmore from Alabama coming out, and then you got Judon that's had a good year last year coming back, but then Winovich is gone. You got solid players that are just not going to be there. You got solid guys coming back. You know, who's the offensive coordinator? Who's the defensive coordinator?
That's a good question.
They're not even talking about that right now, and they won't let you know until season starts.
It's between Patricia and Joe Judge. Does either one of those instill confidence in either one of you guys as offensive coordinator?
No way. It's not the Patriots this year, bro. There's just too much animosity. You got players talking out right now. You got players talking about the Patriot way right now. They're crumbling. There's no more Tom Brady. There's no more continuity like they had. When you can complete passes like Tom Brady completes passes, that fixes everything. When you can move the ball consistently and you don't have to punt, that is everything. No one's afraid of Mac Jones, and no one's going to be afraid of Mac Jones, and they don't have a run game. So you tell me what the Patriots need to do to win the playoffs or even come in second in the division.
Play another mediocre season. That's it.
I mean,
they were mediocre last year. They could be mediocre again.
They found a way.
But is everybody else in the division going to be mediocre? That's the issue I have with your whole comment about all they need to do is just be mediocre.
Well, there's nothing on paper yet from the Dolphins and the Jets with their new assembled teams.
Right, that is going to make you
proving me.
I understand.
That's true.
Right.
True.
But this whole entire show is built off what ifs right now.
That's right. You're right.
So,
you're right.
So my what if
we're just blowing hot air around.
Hell yeah,
real hot.
All right, wrapped up the East. Let's move on to the North. Surprise, surprise! It was the Bengals last year.